welcome you all for the presentation of e-waste management topic. Myself S.Vidyasagar going to present about the latest topic trending in the scenario, how to handle the e-waste. To begin with, we will go with the introduction. So, in development countries, we have an average of consist of 1% of total solid waste, and in around 0.01 to 1% of total municipal solid waste generation per capita being less than 1 kg. So, the waste e-waste, which is nothing but a fast growing waste streams in the world. So, it is an increasing in market penetration in developing countries, replacement market in developed countries, and high upselling rate in the fast growing waste stream. So, there are mostly contain of e-waste 1000 different substances which majorly falls under two criteria. One is hazardous and non-hazardous categories. So, the broadly it consists of ferrous and non-ferrous metals, plastics, glass, wood and plywood, printed circuit boards. Iron, steel constitute about 50% of the world economic e-waste, followed by plastic 25%, non-ferrous metals with 13% and other constituents. Non-ferrous metals consist of metals like copper, aluminum and precious metal like silver, gold, platinum, palladium and so on. The presence of elements like lead, mercury, arsenic, cadmium are equivalent chromium and flame retardants threshold quantities in waste e-waste, which makes the nature an hazardous one. In this context, the article describes various e-waste definition related to the Indian and the global scenario in the gaps existing system. So, to begin with the definition of a e-waste, is nothing but an important term to be understood. I have come out with various definitions, but generally interpreting the electronic waste which is being disposed by the consumers. So, every well developed countries like Austria, Belgium, Denmark, India, Finland and France, Germany, Greece have come across a detailed process of how to handle the e-waste thing. So, according to European Union, they indicate three major drivers determining the e-waste definition. Okay, it is nothing but way of disposal broadly reflects different national policies and regulations for considering waste as pollutant or a resource. So, there are 10 categories in extent of a voltage rating of 1000 volts for alternating and 1500 volts for direct current, including definition of the electric waste management. So, there is no definition specifically for a waste management in Indian environmental guidelines. So, its dismantling or incineration is considered toxic and its disposable is expensive, the e-waste, electronic waste, which finds its way from developed countries through transit trading points into developing countries where cost of recycling, recovery and disposal is much cheaper than in developed countries. This trend is expected to grow considering global e-waste generation. So, generally the e-waste trade that is of three levels for in the generation hierarchy. First level primary e-waste generators, second level secondary e-waste generators, third level tertiary e-waste generators, where the primary comes from the formal organized market like manufacturers, importers, office organized markets, where e-waste from the domestic comes either in exchange schemes or on a discard item. Therefore, the major stakeholders are the generating manufacturers and importers. So, the market is between the first and the second level, which is semi-formal, and that market between second and third level is completely informal. Okay, the stakeholders falling under the secondary e-waste generation scheme. So, financial capacity and are involved in dismantling process and segregation by item component, for example, dismantling of CRTs, PCBs, plastics, glass and obtained e-waste, etc. Tertiary level stakeholders, nothing but the stakeholders between second and third level and are metal extractors, plastic extractors and electronic items extractors. While in Pune, we have no metal extractors were found. In Delhi, all type of tertiary is involved. The term e-waste is an abbreviation of electronic and electrical waste. A key part of the definition is the word waste, which logically implies that the item has no further use and is rejected as useless or excess to the owner in its current condition. Although e-waste is a general term, it can be considered to denote items such as TV appliances, computers, laptops, tablets, mobile phones, white goods, for example, fridges, washing machine, toys, toaster, and kettles. E-waste is a term used to cover items of all types of electrical and electronic equipments and its parts that have been discarded by the owner as waste without the intention of reuse. So, what is the global scenario? So, 17.4% was documented as formally collected of the overall 53.6 million tons of e-waste. The global takes as a total population of 7.3 billion. The waste generation will increase by 3.4 tons of e-waste by 2050. So, which says an average capita of waste generation is accounts to 6.16 grams per person. So, what is the future scenario of e-waste? Under the business usual scenario, the amount of e-waste will be more than doubled by 2050. The complicated nature of production, use and disposal of electronics requires significant changes in order for the process to become sustainable. So, I will continue with the Indian scenario of e-waste and the global scenario of e-waste in the next presentation following the videos. Thank you.